Hi guys, so I wanted to talk a bit about composing with polymetres today. It's quite a strong topic in sort of the progressive and jank community. I think it would sort of be quite nice to have an explanation on how to do that. And I'm going to show that in two ways. I'm going to show it with one of my pieces of music and of course one of Meshuggah's pieces of music. They're the reason I know how to do all this, you know. If you listen to their music enough and you study the tabs enough, you'll see the patterns of how they work with it and sort of what a polymetre is. So essentially what a polymetre is it's a section of music where there's one overlaid time signature, usually 4/4, usually 4 bars of 4/4, but the actual phrasing of the music can be split up into further complications of sub-time signatures that will all come together to fulfill the same amount of beats as X amount of X other time signature. So I think I'll get sort of right into it and I'll let you have a listen to just one of my pieces of music. It's a 5-bar riff in 4/4, in 4/4 for now. So let's have a listen. Okay. I quite like it. I think it's quite good. It's quite aggressive. So as you can see in the drums, if you have a look here, we've basically got 4/4 in the cymbals and snare, you know, snare on each third bar and main cymbal hit on each beat, each crotch hit beat that is. And then we have some various accenting, you can sort of see in the hi-hats over here, splash there, a couple of cymbals and a little tom fill at the end. So if you ignore the bass drum, it's kind of just a slightly funky beat with syncopated accents. But it comes to a different story when you do look at the bass drum, and particularly the accenting in the guitar and how the riff was created. So I'm going to show you it in what I like to call its true rhythmic form. So it may look a bit more complicated here, but this is actually the riff I made, and in my head this is what it is. And here is it, you can call it in its polymetric form. I mean, whatever you want to say. It's the same thing as what you saw before, but notated differently and notated in how I would read it. So the way I made this riff is I started off with the central 13/16 rhythm, and you can see that all the other bars are just different iterations, you know, slightly changed, but they're all off that one thing. So, you know, you've created 5 bars of music just from one small change. So I'll play the whole thing here. Okay, so that was the riff again, just the guitar. And you can see the differences here of we lose a semiquaver here, which is why we go from 13 to 12, because 1/16 is semiquaver. And we get an addition where we have a little double of the 7 part, whatever you want to call it. That first introduction theme is added again, and then a couple of changes in the rhythm here. And we sort of get just, again, more gradual and slight changes to alter it and create a more complex rhythm. So what's really interesting is when you map out the hit points. I've done it in a splash here, so I've mapped out all the focus points in the guitar and the notes that stick out, and I put that against the 4/4 hits of the drums in the actual song. So when you play these two together, you start to hear how the polymeter works. So you can sort of see the breakdown there, and I think that's a really strong technique to use when creating riffs and creating sort of cyclic riffs, things that flow well, things that almost are minimalistic in nature because of the gradual progression of how they're made, all from, you know, the 1/13/16 bar. So another way to show this is in one of Meshuggah's songs. I'm going to pick Autonomy Lost. It's in every Meshuggah song, but I chose Autonomy Lost because I like it. First song in Catch 33, I would consider Catch 33 to be a song, but that's for another video. Let's hear it. Great riff, absolutely perfect. But if you are to look at what I was showing you before, again, 4/4 cymbal hits every bar. And the snare's a bit different, but mostly we get snare on the third beat, close enough to it, slightly syncopated, in coordination with the hit points again. But as you can tell, it's 4 bars of 4/4, what it seems to be at the moment. So if we again break it up, here's what it actually is, and you can see it's slightly more complex, but it all adds up to 16 crotchet beats, which is what we want in this case. So we'll listen to it broken up. As far as theme and variation goes, I guess this one's a bit more abstract. So we start off with the 3/8, and I guess the central theme of the 9/8, which is repeated 3 times. Now, if you were to look at this in the 4/4 tab, you probably wouldn't even notice that there's 3 bars of the same thing. But that's the polymetric beauty. That's where the numbers lie. If you looked in our Meshuggah tab, you start to notice this, and that's a whole numerical other world which is undiscovered in the realm of 4/4. And you can see you've just got a bar of 3/8 and 2/8 at the end, just to make it round up to 4 bars of 4/4. So then if we listen to it before with the hit points, again, that's what I would consider to be the main sort of emphasis on the guitar against the 4/4 of the drums. And there we go. That's a nice little polymeter. So, I just wanted to show you those 2 examples. I guess polymetric composition is the only way I compose now. It's just, in my opinion, just the best way to do things. I love the feel of it, the way, I don't need to explain that more. So hopefully this will help you understand how to write more interesting riffs, more sort of similar riffs to Meshuggah, and how they go about their writing, and why people sort of call their music 4/4, and why it is 4/4, why it isn't 4/4, why they like to be modest and say it's all just 4/4, but in reality, you can see from the tab here, it's definitely not all 4/4. So thank you for watching.